Happy June! Happy Pride Month! I forgot about it. I forgot that it was Pride Month. You know, I have been forgetting right about every single visibility day, but I think forgetting an entire month, that takes some skill. Fortunately, I had been working on this video, so that'll let me pretend that I remembered. For the longest time, I kept very quiet about my fictional crushes. But this spring, I decided to throw all of that out the window by making this video. What? That voice in the video, by the way, that's my voice. Some people thought that it was a clip from somewhere else, but that's just what I sound like when woman. But Lady Dimitrescu is not my only fictional crush that I've ever had, so I asked you guys if you would like to know the rest, and you did! So in this video, I'm going to be animating all of my fictional crushes in chronological order. Some content warnings: there's going to be sped up footage of animation in this video, so there might be flashing. There's going to be spoilers, so I'll always offer timestamps so you can skip past the character if you want. Oh, and thirsting. So, who was my first fictional crush? It was Glados from Portal. So, what I was surprised about was that people were able to guess this one. When I asked people which characters they thought might be on my list, this was one of the few that people were able to guess. And that's sort of interesting to me. She's a robot. And for most of the game, actually, she's just a voice. She's not even any sort of a being. I think back when I first had a crush on her, I like, Portal 2 hadn't even come out yet, so she didn't really look like anything. Oh, also, here's something a little interesting. Back when I had a crush on Glados, I didn't know English. I was able to say, "How are you?" or something along those lines, but I could not understand a thing that she was saying. Just the tone of her voice was enough. Actually, I can pinpoint the moment that I became gay for this character. I can play the clip.
That has got to be the dumbest thing that— Whoa. Good news. I figured out what that thing you just incinerated did.
I mean, yeah, that's it. That's why I like her. With these early crushes, it was sometimes a little difficult to say, like, what is a crush and what is not a crush, because well, I did not know that gays were a thing back then. But with Glados, I'm pretty sure that this was a crush, because when I revisited Portal years and years later, I was still into her. A giant robot who tries to kill you. This will be a trend later on. Up next, we have Cipher. Most of the characters on this list I still kind of like get, even if the crush is not as strong anymore. I will still look at the character and be like, oh yeah, I get that. I understand why I would like that character. With Cipher, no. He's a triangle. So Cipher is probably, like, if we exclude Lady Dimitrescu from this list, he is probably the most popular crush to have that I have also had. So usually that would be a good thing, because it would mean a lot of content for me to consume about this character, right? But no, back in the day, people would draw him and write reader insert fanfiction of him in which he was a human teenage boy. And I didn't like that. I wanted him to be a triangle. I am only into men if they are geometrical shapes. I don't like him anymore. It's interesting. When I was a child, so there was this, like, at the nurse's office, I was interrogated, like, do you like boys or girls? And I said girls. And then they were like, well, you know, it could be a phase. When you're going through puberty, you know, these things happen. You might have attractions that you will no longer have later. But it turns out that it wasn't the women that were the phase, it was the triangle men. Moving on, Peridot from Steven Universe. But only the tall, evil version of Peridot. When she lost her legs, became short, and became a good guy, I liked the crush withered. I remember Peridot was like my first ever proper girl crush, because up to this point I had not known that gays were a thing, so I couldn't really like explore these crushes properly. And I don't know if this is kind of residue from the Bill Cipher thing that I fell in love with another Dorito head, but I don't know, I just really liked her. I thought that she was so cool. Yeah! Then we have Undyne from Undertale. I remember the moment that I got a crush on Undyne. I was in the girls' locker room at school and I was listening to music. And I found this thing called Undertale the Musical, so it was like a fan musical of Undertale, and I found the Undyne song.
If your life stands between us and seeing the sky, then tough luck for you human, tonight you're gonna die!
And I listened to it, and it was the hottest thing I had ever heard. And I started blushing, but the thing with me is that what made it extra embarrassing was that when I blush, I always draw myself as blushing like, you know, with only my cheeks, but that's not what happens. I blush with my ears, my entire face, my neck, and on occasion also my chest, but not like as a gradient. No, it's like these splotches that make up the blush. It looks like I have a skin disease. But I started blushing like that, and then that was just, you know, I don't know what people thought I was listening to. I was listening to Undertale the Musical. I don't know, Undyne is just... I always thought that she was so cool. It was nice having crushes on these characters whose age was a little ambiguous, because I was a child, and you know, I thought that maybe it's a little weird for me to have crushes on these like adult characters, so with these characters that didn't have any official ages, I could kind of make it up myself. I stopped caring about that a few years later, which you'll soon find out anyways on this video. But yeah, Undyne's cool. She's strong and she learns from her mistakes. That is so great. She's great! Next up on this list we have Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter. I lost her footage, but you know, it doesn't matter. The only thing I have to say is what on earth is wrong with me? Why her? Child North? Why did you pick her? Okay, anyways, moving on. This is actually not any better. President Coin from the Hunger Games. My reasoning? I like the way that she holds a pen in this one image, and I think her hair looks nice, but I do not like the fact that she murdered a bunch of children. You know, you could argue that it was for the war, but then when the war was over, she was like, yeah, you know what, we should murder more kids, that's fun. She deserved to be shot. I like how in some of these animations that I made, it kinda looks like even though I didn't do that on purpose, it kinda looks like the characters are like judging me for drawing them. She definitely looks like she's just so disappointed in me. She's like, who is this depraved child? She's planning my murder at this very moment. I may or may not have read the entire Hunger Games trilogy again just to read about her. Katniss hates her, so she doesn't get a very flattering description there. You know, I'm kind of wondering how many of these characters on my list actually have either murdered or tried to murder children, because President Coin has definitely successfully murdered the most children, but I mean, I don't know. I should calculate the ratio of having attempted to murder children to not having attempted to murder children. Alright, here we go. So, this character's name is a spoiler, but if you have not watched Spider-Verse up until now, then you know, that's your fault. Everyone has been telling you to, and you have still not done that, so... Dr. Olivia Octavia from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So most of these crushes I did not have right away. They kind of developed over time as I was in the fandom of their media. Dr. Olivia Octavia was different, because I had a crush on her from the first time that I saw the movie. Remember when we could go to movie theaters? Went to the theaters with my sister and my brother. We sat down to watch the movie. I did not have high expectations. It ended up being my favorite animated movie, if not my favorite movie period ever. I was having the time of my life when this scene came on, and I'm just saying this entire scene feels like it was created to make me develop a crush on this character.
I'm not refusing.
No more excuse.
Okay, I'm kind of freaking out right now.
Aw, she's kinda cute, said I, a 17-year-old child, about this cartoon woman in her 40s. But it didn't end there. No.
Pinch a little.
Huh. Okay.
Sample.
Whoa, okay.
And I, for one, can't wait to watch.
What? Whoa.
My friends actually call me Liv.
Okay.
It's proprietary.
Marry me? Can you imagine my horror when, apparently she survived and she's maybe like returning in the sequel. Thank God! So when I asked people who would be my fictional crush, some people said it's the character with the hottest hands, and I was like, huh, that's funny. Who would that even be? Oh, yep, it's this one. It's Olivia Octavia's. Oh my God. Then we have Perfume from She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. This one is such a, like, an odd one out here. Like, we have this list of mostly villains, and then there's just Perfume, the flower girl. I mean, I just like her. I like her personality so much. I like how she is so sweet but still willing to fight for the things that matter to her. And I also like how she's like offering therapy sessions to Catra. Yeah, I mean, I just like her. She's so soft. I don't have words, but she's great. I like her. And apparently she's like transgender ? I mean, fuck yeah, we love our trans girl. A lot of people guessed that I would have a crush on Catra. No, not at all. But you know, I still had a crush on a character from She-Ra, so yeah. And actually she isn't the only one, because there's also Double Trouble. Double Trouble kind of looks like Peridot now that I'm looking at them like side by side here. Huh. Weird. I mean, who doesn't have a crush on Double Trouble? They are just like a queen. Or what's the gender neutral term for queen? A ruler? I don't know. But they are just... I feel like they just about carried that entire season in which they appeared. I was so disappointed that they didn't return more in the last season. I wanted to see more of them. They're not as big a crush as Perfume, but, you know, they're still a crush, and I really like them. They just ooze confidence. I think that might actually be the one thing that's common between all of my crushes. It's the confidence. Well, maybe not with Peridot, I don't know. It depends how you look at it, okay? So, remember how I just said that I did not have a crush on Catra? Well, the next crush is Captain Amelia from Treasure Planet. I think people heavily overestimated how much of a furry I was because they kept suggesting like Nala from The Lion King or Kovu. No, but there is Captain Amelia, who's a cat girl. I actually didn't see Treasure Planet as a child. I took initiative to watch it a few years ago. And let me tell you, it was love at first sight. Again, she was just so great. I loved the way that she talked. It's great. She's great. And, you know, it's mostly not to do with the fact that she is, like, a cat. It's mostly just, like, the way that she is. She's just amazing. I like her voice. I like how she speaks. I love her little gestures. And let me tell you, I have never ever in my life felt so jealous of a cartoon character or like so betrayed that I was when at the end of the movie her and Dr. Doubler had kids, and I was like, no! This is something that I have actually talked about before briefly in a previous video. My wife! I have never felt such jealousy of a cartoon character. Next up we have Evelyn Dever from The Incredibles 2. Usually what happens is that I see a piece of media and then eventually I develop a crush on one of the characters from that media, but this time it was kind of like the opposite way. So I saw a fan art of Evelyn somewhere and I was like, ooh, my gaydar is going beep beep. So I saw the movie because of that fan art that I saw. I had not seen Incredibles 2 up to that point. I had been avoiding it actively because I had not liked the first movie. Don't come at me. That's just my opinion, okay? I actually liked the second movie more than the first one, which is probably an unpopular opinion, but you know, Evelyn. This is also kind of a weird one because I liked her more when she was like pretending to be a good guy than when she turned into a villain. Like, I was actually a little disappointed by that. You know, I'm just watching the movie and I'm like, oh, is she gay? Is she? I think she is. But then it turns out that no, she was just a twist villain. Now, okay, there's a conversation to be had here about queer-coded characters being the villains. That's not great. That's bad. That is not good representation. That is bad. But, so a part of me, a logical part, is saying that, but then the other part is like, oh, time to add Evelyn Dever to my collection of evil lesbians. That's terrible. There are two wolves inside of you. It's not that I didn't like her when she turned evil, I just didn't like the fact that she turned evil in the first place. The fanon shall supply me with the redemption arc that I need. We're not at the end yet, but now we're moving on to the one that everyone's been waiting for, the one that everybody knew about. It's Lady Dimitrescu. I mean, what can I say that I haven't said before? She's tall, she has a nice voice. I just... the smile is great. This was one of the first ones that I started drawing for this video, and I ran into the problem that I would run into many times after that. That was, it is really difficult to draw characters that you like, because, you know, I haven't drawn that many humans in the first place. Like, in the past months, I have been drawing some humans, I have been drawing a lot of this character in particular, but when you're drawing a character that you like, you kind of set yourself higher standards than normal, and then you're just a perfectionist, and that ruins everything, and it takes you way longer than it should to make that damn animation. I don't know, like, even now that I'm done with this, I always feel like I make her look much older than she actually looks like in the game. I was worried that when I played the game that I would just get... Because I started to make this video before I played Resident Evil 8. So I was worried that I would get more crushes because there were more women in that game. So I thought that maybe I will just crush on every single one of them, and then I'll have to add all of them to this video that I'm already working on. But fortunately that didn't happen. She ended up being the only one. The daughters, I just they reminded me of my sister a lot. And then with Donna, I was too busy being absolutely freaked out by that thing in her basement. I had to play through this section without my headphones because the sounds that this thing was making were just... it was too much. And Mother Miranda, I just didn't like her. Now I'm talking about characters that aren't in this video. Lady Dimitrescu is great. Everyone knows that I think that. Moving on to the last character on this list. Lady Eboshi from Princess Mononoke? How do you say this? How do you say this word? Anyways, her. So she's my most recent one. That doesn't mean that the previous ones have ended, by the way. These crushes just kind of persist for a long time. I just like how she... I'll show the shot that made me fall in love with her, okay? Here it is. I mean, that's just, you know, it's about the power. And she shoots a god just like that. I am impressed. She is so cool. And she's not exactly a villain, kinda. I really like her. her pants are so cool. I want to have those pants to myself. She can have her own, but I wouldn't steal hers, but I just want a copy of these same pants, okay? I don't know. I have been recording for too long, my brain is melting. When I was deciding what song I should have, like which meme I should do, I just couldn't find any that would suit my purpose. I just sort of made up my own meme. Is it really a meme if no one else has done it before? And no one will probably do it after me? I don't know. Feel free to do it yourself if you want. I'm going to upload this video separately later, but please tell me what I should call it because I don't know what to call it. Please comment that down in the description. Help me! Yeah, here we go. So that was that. I would love to know if you think I'm weird for having this many fictional crushes, or for some particular crush that I had. And I would also like to know if you have any of the same ones, so that I don't feel so alone with some of these. Yeah, this has been me embarrassing myself for however long this video is going to be. I have been recording for almost 40 minutes, but a lot of it is just me stuttering, so it's probably like half of that. I hope you all have a great Pride Month.